Welcome to Inside Gaming. I'm Brian. It's the Weekend Roundup. We got more news about that proposed tariff that would hit gamers especially hard. Now, about a month ago, we reported that President Trump said he will raise tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods. And among other things, those 25% tariffs are going to affect video game consoles, which would mean that's a pretty substantial increase if you buy a new console because nearly all of them are made in China. Well, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, they've done something pretty rare for them. They've actually joined forces. They wrote a joint letter to the Trump administration saying that those tariffs will result in US customers paying a lot more for consoles. How much more? They said that the tariffs would result in consumers here in the US paying $840 million more. Woo. That is a lot. And it's because, according to Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, 96% of all consoles were made in China last year, and it would be really expensive for them to change up their entire supply chain. In the letter, the companies wrote, "While we appreciate the administration's efforts to protect U.S. intellectual property and preserve U.S. high-tech leadership, the disproportionate harm caused by these tariffs to U.S. consumers and businesses will undermine, not advance, these goals." They added that a price increase of 25% will likely put a new video game console out of reach for many American families who we expect to be in the market for a console this holiday season. They're worried about the holidays. That's when they do a ton of their business. That makes sense. Now, analysts confirm that the tariff could harm the hardware industry here in the US. NPD's Matt Piscatella tweeted that hardware sales in the US, they're already down 17% this year. We're at the end of a console life, the end of a generation. That kind of makes sense. But he wrote that increasing the consumer price of hardware due to tariffs would likely have significant negative impact. And while you probably already own the Switch you want, or a PS4 or an Xbox One, but don't forget Sony and Microsoft, they're expected to roll out their next-gen consoles next year. That would have a huge impact. If a 25% tariff, if it's in place by then, that's going to be a huge price increase that's passed along to consumers. For instance, if the retail cost of the PlayStation 5 is $400, that would go up to $500 with a 25% tariff.
And that's math.
Because as we always say, businesses don't pay tariffs, their customers do. Meanwhile, President Trump does not seem to be backing down. He's expected to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping at the G20 summit this weekend, but he says if they don't make progress, there could be even more tariffs that would target an additional $300 billion worth of Chinese imports. Or maybe they've solved it by the time you're watching this video and you're gonna be like, "Hey Brian, they fixed it. There's gonna be no tariffs. This video's out of date." And I'm like, give me a break. We recorded this Friday. But we will see. There's definitely a lot of brinksmanship going on right now, and video games are definitely caught in the middle of it. On to other news, it looks like EA executives have decided to give up their performance bonuses for 2019. That's so nice of them. In a summary of EA's business on the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission website, CEO Andrew Wilson and other executives say they're not going to take the bonuses due to a down financial year. Now, EA, they made $4.95 billion during the fiscal year 2019. That was down, though, from $5.15 billion the previous fiscal year. So not as many billions, not as much.
And that's
the report says, while we are disappointed with our fiscal 2019 results, we understand the challenges we face, and we will continue to focus on how we can apply the strengths of our company to capitalize on our opportunity.
Buzzwords!
They probably came out of the baby crib talking like that, just when they were like 10 months old.
Oh man, I love business buzzwords. They're the best.
So the bonuses combined, they would amount to about $4.8 million. Wilson's still gonna make about $1.2 million a year, so don't worry about him. Of course, one of EA's biggest games of the year, Anthem, has been a giant dud, but in an interview, Wilson said they are in it for the long haul. He said, "If I think about Anthem on a 7 to 10 year cycle, it may not have had the start that many of us wanted, including our players. I feel like that team is really going to get there with something special and something great because they've demonstrated that they can." That's not what demonstrated means. Just saying, dude. Speaking of unpopular CEOs, Tim Sweeney is again defending the practices of the Epic Games Store. The new digital storefront offers developers a more generous revenue split of 88%, but it has really pissed off gamers with its practice of locking down games into exclusive deals. Now, on Twitter, Sweeney again defended Epic's exclusive practices, saying that they're needed to establish a competitor to Steam. Sweeney says that the 30% revenue cut that Steam takes is hurting developers and that Epic's exclusive strategy is, quote, proportionate to the problem. He added, if the Epic strategy either succeeds in building a second major storefront for PC games with an 88-12 revenue split, or even just leads other stores to significantly improve their terms, the result will be a major wave of reinvestment in game development and a lowering of costs. Or they'll just keep all that money and give it to their shareholders and their CEOs. Just saying, dude. According to Sweeney, Epic's practices will ultimately benefit gamers after game storefronts have rebalanced and developers have reinvested more of their fruits of their labor into creation rather than taxation.
Sure, but here's the thing. This is great for indie developers, for small developers.
Right, they get more money back.
Yeah,
that's what he argues.
Right,
yes.
But bigger developers, like you said, those profits are not. We've seen time and time again. Right. Profits don't get passed down.
Right, EA's not like we're gonna make FIFA Ultimate Team cheaper now because it's making so much money. That is not how that works.
Right. So it's funny to me that he says that and he's like, oh yeah, we're making it great. It's like, no, you're making it better for indie developers.
And he's also sort of saying we're doing this for your own good. Right. And I think that's what I think that sort of arrogance is like what pisses a lot of people off.
Yeah, eat your peas because even though you don't
because
like
we
them,
say so.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on, Total War 3 Kingdoms is out now on PC, and it's just done something that no PC game has done in a long time. According to NPD, the tactics game was the number 3 best-selling games in the US in May. That's the first time a PC exclusive has hit the top 3 in 7 years since Diablo 3 did it back in 2012. I think that's 7 years. Yes, that's 7 years. Really cool to see. They've also announced the newest DLC pack for the game. It's called Reign of Blood that ups the gore factor, and it's available now. All right, South Korea, the story's crazy. They do not play around when it comes to esports. Under a new law that recently went into effect, if you boost or share your game accounts, you could get thrown in jail for 2 years. Oh, and a fine of more than $17,000. Now, if you're not familiar with boosting, that's when somebody plays another person's account to rank them up, but it is a big no-no in the esports world. A law to deter it was passed in South Korea in 2017. It went into effect just recently. Esports, you guys know, is a major deal in South Korea. Some services have been popping up offering to boost accounts. Some Overwatch League players have even been punished for boosting accounts. So yeah, better get your ranking the old-fashioned way from now on, or you'll be explaining to your fellow inmates in prison that you got there for the lamest reason ever.
Seriously, just play the game. You bought the game.
Yeah, I don't.
And if you're, what do you think's gonna happen?
I don't know if that's. I don't know why they rank you. You probably does it give you stats, extra stats, in League or something?
Like, yeah, cool, great. You got to Diamond. But when you start playing again, you're gonna lose.
You're depriving yourself of all that joy.
Like those people who are pro level are gonna be
like a MOBA over and over again.
Those pro level players are gonna be like, oh man, maybe you're just having a really bad day every day.
Right. All right, time for a 5-second review. Here we go. Man, I can't build shit.
Throw an angle.
I am terrible at making levels. I'm not good at, I just don't have that creative bone. Anyway, time to talk about new games coming out next week. Starting us off, it's a game porting over to the Switch. Imagine that. It's Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered Edition. Oh, this is cool. It's got the destructible environments and everything. Anyway, back to the script. This open-world shooter takes place 50 years after the original Red Faction and has you fighting for freedom from the oppressive Earth Defense Force. Of course, Red Faction, known for destructible environments. See, I knew. And with this remastered edition, you'll get to break stuff with fully reworked graphics, improved lighting, and more. It's making its way to the Switch July 2nd. Stranger Things 3, the game, is the official companion game to Season 3 of the Netflix series. This arcadey action-adventure beat-em-up stresses teamwork to solve puzzles, explore the world, find secrets, and defeat the evils of the Upside Down. You can pick this one up PC, PS4, Xbox One, and the Switch July 4th. Celebrate Independence Day that way. It's the steampunk post-apocalypse. There are only a few thousand humans left on Earth, but there are a ton of zombies. Lots of them. Billions, some might say. In the strategy game, there are billions. You are tasked to build and defend the last human colonies against massive hordes of the undead. It's been on PC for a little while now. You can pick it up on Xbox One July 5th PS4 on July 9th. And to finish things off, Sea of Solitude follows Kay as she explores a submerged city in search of answers. She's been turned into a red-eyed monster, but how? Maybe she didn't get enough sleep. Maybe she took a late flight. According to the dev, the game centers on the essence of loneliness and tugs on the heartstrings of its players by mirroring their own reality. It's received praise over the years for its art style, presentation, and for tackling the complex issue of mental health. Sea of Solitude is releasing on July 5th for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. All right, that's all the news we've got for you today. We hope you have a great week. We'll see you next week here on Inside Gaming. Or tomorrow. We got more videos.
Bad news for Google Stadia and Project xCloud, just like every day. They've got a lot of work to do in Europe.
Hey, I'd like to do a lot of work in Europe as well. We should move offices there, Lawrence.
Hey, we just made all that sponsorship money, so
Yeah.
we should break off a chunk of that.
That's right. Let's go to Hostel.
We already gave all that money away to Games Done Quick.
What?
It's gone.
Why?
In this case, we're talking about gamers in Europe who were polled about their interest